Beneath his stormy surface flowed the warm tide of compassion and kindness.
HVL.
Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start.
Hey, what's up, softball fans? And we are into the playoffs as section play went live this week for all 9 HVL conference teams. This is What in the HVL? And I'm your host, Adam Peterson. I will be bringing you all the action through the next 2 weeks of section play and then one final episode to close out our premier season of With Softball. Thanks so much to all of you for tuning in. And if you tuned in last week, we have some great news here on What in the HVL. That is... let's get to it. Ebnet Lawn Care signed on to be the official sponsor of What in the HVL for the rest of the season. Can't thank them enough for their support, their generosity. Call 507-273-0700 for the best in the business. Just like our teams in What in the HVL, all 9 of those teams, this is the 10th team that you want to call. And do you know why you can't tell anybody from Ebnet Lawn Care too funny of a joke? Huh? Because if they laugh too hard, they'll wet their plants. Ah! Hello? Is this on? Hello? Nothing? All right. Well, moving on. Thanks to Ebnet Lawn Care. Let's get you going here. It's playoff time. Playoffs? Playoffs? We have 3 different sections to cover. In 1A and 2A, they have 16-team brackets. The first round is a win or go home scenario where 3A is double elimination as we only have 8 teams in the entire bracket. We will start off in section 1, 1A. First up, we believe only have 1 team in section 1, 1A. And that's the Wildcats of Goodhue, just missing out on a seat to host the first round game as they would travel to Houston to take on the Hurricanes. These 2 teams actually squared off back on April 15th. Goodhue took a 5-4 win over Houston in a thriller, if I remember correctly. Houston would score 1 in the bottom of the 3rd, and although Goodhue would out-hit the Hurricanes 6-4 for only the 2nd time this season, now the Wildcats can't plate a runner, and that would do it. Houston wins 1-0. 1-0, no. You could see Goodhue, no runs on 6 hits, 1 error. Houston, 1 run on 4 hits and 1 error. Goodhue finishes the season 7-14, but show a ton of promise, let me tell you, with no seniors on this roster. Morgan Rader, Ciara Kallstrom, Emma Voth, and Izzy O'Reilly all coming back next year for their senior season. Then you got the Christensen sisters, Maya Russian, which I just learned how to say her name, Laura Gadiant, 3 more years. Yeah, apologies to Maya Russian. I'm going to try to get that right the rest of her career. Also got to meet Emma Voth on Thursday in Austin. Her family couldn't get away from the softball fields. Always great to meet the players, the parents from other teams. Just fantastic this season. Watch out for the Wildcats next year. Big thanks, though, to Tom Voth, Coach Lundak for all their help covering Goodhue this season. If you are a Wildcat fan out there, please pass along some appreciation to both of those individuals because they deserve all the credit for Goodhue coverage. I just happen to be in front of the camera telling you their story, and I appreciate you letting me do that this year. Let's move to the next slide here. So here are the 9 teams. We call them the WIT squad. There's a boxer that calls his team the HIT squad. So this is the WIT squad. You can see the 9 teams. Unfortunately, we will lose one of them and move on. Next up, section 1, 2A. This is a big 8 versus 9 game in section 1, 2A. Unlike the Goodhue game where we knew who we were cheering for, because of the loyalty we have for the HVL, this game was going to hurt regardless of the outcome because automatically it would eliminate one of our conference teams. It was Pine Island traveling to Cannon Falls to take take on the Bombers. These teams met back on April 22nd in Pine Island. Cannon Falls winning that game 2-0. It would be two outstanding pitchers from the HVL squaring off. It was Caitlin Laram for the Panthers, Allie Pagel for the Bombers. It was scoreless through 2 innings. Cannon Falls would get some runs in the bottom of the third. Maya Mengi hits a solo shot to left field, making it 1-0 Bombers. Allie Pagel would single to center field, putting one on with one out, and Maddie Burr steps on one to left field, matching Mengi with a home run. This time a 2-run shot, putting Cannon Falls up 3-0. If you know one thing about Pine Island, it is that they always seem to respond. They did that in the top of the fourth. Back-to-back singles by Sophia Polzer and Jenna Schlusner puts 2 on with 1 out. Kylie Passau would lay down a sacrifice bunt, moving the runners over 1 base. Tegan Barnett with 2 outs comes up clutch for the Panthers. A 2 RBI single to center field, and now it's 3-2 Cannon Falls. The Bombers would start the 4th inning with a Chloe Shoquist single to left field. Miller puts down the sacrifice bunt, moving Shoquist over to second, and Narrison hits a ground ball that would end up scoring Chloe, making it 4-2 Cannon Falls. Jaden Volts started the 5th inning with a double to left field. Elsmore would reach base on a bunt. Volts moves over to third. Volts would score on a ball to the backstop, and all of a sudden it was just a 1-run game. Still 4-3 Bombers going into the 6th inning. A fielder's choice on a ground ball by Narrison would net 1 run for the Bombers and leave 2 runners on with just 1 out, and not satisfied with just 1 bomb. 8th grader Maya Mengi on the 9th pitch of the at-bat, just battling up there, gotta win the war, well, sends one deep for her 2nd home run of the game, a 3-run jack, and the Bombers would finish this one out. Final score, Cannon Falls 8-3 on the back of 3 bombs. Yes, pun intended there with Cannon Falls. Box score coming up here. I actually didn't know I was still live on this screen. Pine Island, 3 runs on 6 hits, 3 errors. Cannon Falls, 8 runs, 10 hits, 3 errors. We got some stats here. Pine Island, Sophia Polzer 2 for 4 with a run scored. Jaden Volts 1 for 3 with a double. For Cannon Falls, Allie Pagel pitched a fantastic game. 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, no walks. Also 3 for 4 at the plate was the sophomore Pagel. Maya Mengi 2 for 4 with 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored, and a stolen base. Maddie Burr 1 for 4 with a home run, 2 RBIs, a run scored, and then 1 hit each for Templin, Shoquist, Josie, and Chloe, and Miller. So, Pine Island, that ends their season at an even 10-10, if I'm not mistaken. Hats off to the Panthers for staying in the fight every single game. I'm going to miss those weekly emails coming from Coach Kim Jones, but hopefully we can sweet talk her into helping us again maybe next season, or maybe instead of sweet talking her, maybe just some actual sweets like nothing bunt cakes. I don't know. Those can move mountains. They are so good. Just a huge supporter of WIT softball, and I appreciate that. Incredible seasons by the Panthers. You know, only 2 seniors, but they were both very good. Caitlin Laram and Sophia Polzer, heard both of their names a ton this year in the HVL, as they had some outstanding performances in their final season in the maroon and gold, but also some players to look forward to next year and the years ahead for Coach Kim Jones. So unfortunately, updating the WIT squad, Pine Island would leave the chat. Another Section 1 2A matchup featuring an HVL team. This time the number 4 seed Zumbrota-Mazeppa Cougars taking on the GMLOK Bulldogs. It's always dangerous to run into a hot-handed pitcher in the playoffs, and the Bulldogs would find that out the hard way. Cameron Culvers was on the mound for the Cougars. In the first, Megan Jasperson singles to the right side would make it all the way around the bases on either steals or wild pitches. Either way, score after 1 was 1-0 Cougars. In the second, singles by Addie Liffrig, Emma Hatlily, Braylee Peterson, and Paisley Peterson would net ZM another 3 runs, now 4-0 Cougars. In the third, Trinity Chapel would lace a double to left field. Addie Liffrig would drive her in on a single to right field. That made it 5-0 in favor of our HVL squad. The Cougars would add 1 run in the 5th and then walk it off in the 6th on 6 hits and run in the lead up to 10 runs to end this one early. Final score 10-0. And remember what I said about running into solid pitching? How about this? Cameron Culvers was 1 walk away from a perfect game as she throws a no-hitter with 8 strikeouts. Incredible performance by the senior Culvers. Here's the box score here. GMLOK, no runs on no hits. They committed 1 error. Zumbrota-Mazeppa, 10 runs on 12 hits, no errors. And again, just the 1 walk away for Culvers. 6 innings pitched, no hits, 8 strikeouts. Megan Jasperson, she was 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored. Addie Liffrig, 2 for 3 with a double, 3 RBIs. And Paisley Peterson has been hotter than a pistol the last few weeks of the season. 3 for 4, 2 RBIs, and a run scored for her. So, We stay live with the WIT squad. Nobody moves there. 2 more HVL teams in this Section 1 2A bracket to cover. And this game had the Lourdes Eagles taking on the Gophers of Chatfield. Let's move along to that. Lourdes, 11th seed, Chatfield, the 6th seed. Gophers would score 2 runs in the first, 3 runs in the second, and 5 runs in the 5th. No! Lourdes bats never got going. Chatfield took advantage of 4 Eagle errors, and the Gophers would end this one after 5 innings. Final score here, 10-0. Lourdes, no runs on 4 hits, 4 errors. Chatfield, 10 runs on 9 hits and 0 errors. For Lourdes, all of these girls, 1 for 2 on the day. Ali Restovich, Grace Carney, Avery Washniski, and Leah Winnicky. Double for Restovich. That was the highlights, I guess, for your Eagles. The Eagles finished their season 7-13 overall, but this is just a very young squad here for the Lourdes Eagles. Very young. They're going to have a lot of years. Coach Mackin's got to be excited about getting all these underclassmen plenty of varsity time, which may prove dividends in the upcoming seasons. Only time will tell, but unfortunately, we will lose another from our WIT squad. The last team, last HVL team in action on Monday, May 20th, was Lake City. They had the number 15 seed and a tall task taking on the number 2 seed Caledonia Warriors. 8th grader Alana Schmitz got the start for the Tigers, and I believe her catcher came up as well. She went 3 up, 3 down in the first inning with 2 strikeouts to set the tone early. Unfortunately, Caledonia would get 1 run in the bottom of the second, but Lake City comes back in the third. Adelaide Benedict reaches base on an error. Grace Morrissey would single to the left, putting 2 on with 1 out. Kylie Mann singles to left, putting 2 on with 1 out. There was 2 on with 1 out. Kylie Mann singled to left field, scoring Benedict, and we were all tied up at 1. Unfortunately, Caledonia caught fire in the bottom of the 3rd inning. They scored 6 runs, never looked back, as the Warriors would win this one 11-1 in 5 innings. We'll get you the box score here. Lake City, 1 run on 5 hits, 1 error. Caledonia, 11 runs on 12 hits and 1 error. Lake City, Kylie Mann, 2 for 3 with that RBI. She had a double. Olivia Corey, 1 for 2 with a stolen base. Alana Schmitz, 1 for 2, and then also getting her first taste of varsity experience on the mound. I believe final record for Lake City was 2-17. Grace Morrissey did a good job this year for the Tigers, as did Stevie Jostick. Ryan Hoyer had a few games I remember talking about, at least for this senior class, but Coach Betcher will bring back sensational shortstop Kylie Mann, as well as Adelaide Benedict for their senior seasons. I think Alana Schmitz is going to be a bright spot coming up on the mound for Lake City. 4 more seasons of eligibility for her. I think she should get a shot with the repertoire that she brings in the circle. We will see. Again, only time will tell, but we will go to the WIT squad, and unfortunately, another one drops off. This one, Lake City. Tuesday, May 21st, we had Section 1 3A games scheduled, but Mother Nature had other plans. Lots of rain, and games were pushed back 24 hours until Wednesday, which, to be honest with you, Mother Nature was probably doing me a favor, because I had an event I needed to go to for our younger daughter, so I was going to miss the Stewartville game. So by getting pushed back to Wednesday, actually did me a favor. So apologies to all of you out there, but Mother Nature, thank you very much. We move on to Wednesday, May 22nd. First game we got to talk about was a huge matchup between 2 of the HVL's best teams having a square off once again. It was Byron and Kasson-Mantorville. The Comets won the previous duel 6-0 on April 30th. It would be Emily Olsen for KM against Max Steele of Byron on the mound. Byron struck first in the top of the first. Tally Behrens hit a double to left field to put 1 on with 1 out. My girl, if she didn't have such amazing family already, I'd be adopting her. Cadence first said, steps on 1. A 2-run home run to center field, and the Bears lead it 2-0 after 1. In the top of the second, Macy Behringer Byron would get hit by a pitch, steal second, then moved over to third on a sacrifice bunt by Leah Bendix. Ella Brennan hits a sacrifice fly, scoring Behringer, and is 3-0 Bears after 2. Kasson, though, would erupt in the bottom of the 4th. 2 on and 2 out, first and third situation. Richards would steal second. Meyer would come home, netting the Comets their first run. Then Abby Simons hits a slap shot out to center field. This one clears the fence. That ties it up at 3. Andrea Fitch follows that up with a beautiful double to center, then scores on a misplayed ground ball hit by Olsen, and now the Comets are up 4-3. Kasson-Mantorville would score another in the 4th on a perfectly executed small ball. You got Alex Hyatt with the single, then Du Bois comes on to run. Allie Gronke sacrifice bunt moves Du Bois to second. A double by Kylie Meyer would score her, and now it was 5-3 Comets. In the 5th inning, Abby Simons led off with a walk, single by Emily Olsen, Alex Hyatt, and a double by Allie Gronke would plate 3 for Kasson, and now the lead extended to 5. It was 8-3 Comets. points. Byron, though, would make a run in the top of the 7th. Leah Bendix, first hitter, double to left field. Then Hattie Mathery was hit by a pitch, putting 2 on with 2 out. First and third, throw down to second, mishandled. Bendix scores. Mathery moves over to third, and then Tally Barons puts one in play to score. Mathery. Firstead would rip a single to right field. Max Steele walks. That loads the bases with 2 outs still. Emma Clark is hit by a pitch. The 6th, yes, 6th Byron player hit by a pitch in this game. Run comes across. Now Byron only down 2 with the bases juice. Olsen, though, would get Byron to ground out to second to end the threat, and Kasson hangs on to win a thriller. A thriller like Michael Jackson, 8-6. This one goes by way of the Comets. Box score here, I believe I have it. Byron, 6 runs on 5 hits, 2 errors. Kasson-Mantorville, 8 runs on 9 hits and 2 errors. We'll get some stats here. Byron, Cadence Firstead, 2 for 4 with a home run, 2 RBIs and a run scored. Tally Barons, 1 for 3 with a double and 2 runs scored. Mackenzie Steele, 1 for 2 with a double. Leah Bendix, 1 for 1 with a run scored and a stolen base. Kasson-Mantorville, Alex Hyatt, 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Andrea Fitch, 1 for 4 with a double and a run scored. Kylie Meyer, 1 for 3 with a double and RBI, a run scored. I think I got some pictures here. Yeah, Abby Simons coming around at that big home run, 2-run shot, 1 for 3 with a home run, 2 RBIs for Simons. Again, 3A, Section 1 3A is double elimination, so we don't lose anybody from the hit squad. On the other side of the 3A bracket, it was the Stewartville Tigers hosting the Red Wingers, a rematch of a game that was played just 9 days prior that Stewartville won 5-3. It was Bree Tix against Sydney Clark, 2 hard-throwing righties facing off again in this rematch. Red Wing drew 2 walks to start the game, and Bree Tix would steal third, score on a ball to the backstop, and the Wingers were up 1-0. Savannah Hedin led off the bottom of the second with a double. Brielle Johnson would walk. Hedin would steal third on a heads-up base running play, and she would score on a wild pitch, tying this game up. First batter of the third inning was Veronica Mitchell. Count was 3-1, and Mitchell barrels up on a fastball. This was a no-doubter off the bat, let me tell you. A solo shot to right center, and the Tigers now lead 2-1. The bottom of the 5th, Sydney Clark would reach on a rocket ground ball to the shortstop. Kayla Byrne follows with a single to right field. Addie Eckerman hits a ground ball to the left side. That was a rough play. Courtesy runner Nora Dyke ends up scoring. Brielle Johnson, who has been a real bright spot for the Tigers with her bat this year, comes up big with a 2-out single to right field. That scored Byrne. Haley Lourdes then matches Johnson with a single of her own to center field. That scored Eckerman, and it was all of a sudden 5-1 Stewartville after 5 innings. The Tigers would add 1 more for good measure in the 6th inning on a Sydney Clark RBI. That girl on the mound was Sydney Clark. You heard her RBI single in the 6th. She was unhittable on the mound, literally, as Clark throws another no-hitter, this one on the big stage in the playoffs, and the Tigers would advance. Final score in this one, 6-1 Stewartville. Red Wing, 1 run on no hits, 4 errors. Stewartville, 6 runs on 10 hits and no errors. Sydney Clark was sensational. Clark, the superstar. 7 innings pitched, 0 hits, 1 earned run, 14 strikeouts, 4 walks, 2 for 4 at the plate with an RBI. Always love the black and white pictures from Missy Clark. Appreciate her. How many no-hitters does Sydney have? Oh, 4 no-hitters now. She had 3 in a row during the regular season, and now she has a no-hitter in the playoffs. I got to add my Washington player here, counting it up for her. Unbelievable. Veronica Mitchell. Talk about a player stepping up in clutch situations. 2 for 4 with a home run, flexing there as she runs in to touch the plate. Brielle Johnson, I said a huge bright spot with her bat this season. Did it this game, 2 for 2 with an RBI and a walk. Reached base 3 times. Love having that for our Tiger offense. Kayla Byrne, Savannah Hedin each had a hit, and as well did Haley Lourdes and Brooklyn Peterson. We move on to Thursday. We were busy with a capital B. First team to cover it is going to be, I believe, the Zumbrota-Mazeppa Cougars, who were taking on the number 5 seed Cotter Ramblers. Cameron Covers was coming off that no-hitter against GMLOK and looking to keep the momentum rolling. She went 3 up, 3 down to start the game. In the bottom of the first 5 Cougars reached base safely. Single by Melanie Rash, walk by Megan Jasperson, single by Paisley Peterson. Cameron Covers ground ball reached on an air, and then Trinity Chappa singled. That's 2 runs, still bases loaded with nobody out. Peterson would score on a pass ball that made it 3-0 after 1 inning. In the bottom of the second, flipped the script from the first inning. Actually, I think they just repeated like the scoring, but the script, they did everything with 2 outs this time. With 2 outs, second inning, they got error on Jasperson, ground ball, walks by Peterson, to Peterson and Kovars. Trinity Chappa single scores 2. single by Addie Lifford scores Culvers, and back-to-back walks would give another free run to Zumbrota-Mazeppa, and now the Cougars were all of a sudden up 7-0. That was all the breathing room Culvers needed on the mound. Cotter would score 3 in the 6th inning. None of them earned, and the Cougars would win it. 7-3 was the final score. Let's get you the box score here. Cotter, 3 runs on 3 hits, 2 errors. Zumbrota-Mazeppa, you see 7 runs early in the 1st and 2nd inning. 7 runs on 7 hits, 4 errors though for the Cougars. Going to need to probably clean that up. Cameron Culver, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 runs, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. Trinity Chappa, she's been playing awesome all season long. 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs, a run scored. Melanie Rash, 2 for 4 with a run scored. Addie Liffrig had a big game against GMLOK. Now 2 for 3 with an RBI. Paisley Peterson, 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored. So our width squad stays intact. The next one up, the Cannon Falls Bombers from Section 1-2A. They had a tall task taking on the number 1 state-ranked Randolph Rockets. Randolph would score 4 runs in the first, 2 in the second to take a commanding lead, and in the top of the 5th, Cannon Falls started to get something going with back-to-back singles by Josie and Chloe Shoquist to put 2 on with no outs, but the Bombers could not get a run across. Randolph would end up winning this one after 5 innings. 10-0 was the final score. Allie Pagel, Josie Shoquist, Chloe Shoquist, and Sophia Narrison, 1 hit each. You can see Cannon Falls, no runs on 4 hits, 4 errors. Randolph, 10 runs on 13 hits, no errors. That would drop Cannon Falls into the blood rounds, as you'll see here, and they will take on the aforementioned Cotter Ramblers. So let's talk about that. The 8-seeded Bombers taking on the number 4 seed Cotter Ramblers. Cotter would score 1 in the second to take the lead. The Bombers would notch a run in the top of the 4th. Maddie Burr would draw a walk, steal second, and be moved over to third on an Emma Templin ground ball. Josie Shoquist hits a line drive to center for an RBI single, scoring Burr, and we were all tied up at 1 going into the bottom of the 4th. Unfortunately for Team With, Cotter would score 4 runs in the 4th and 5th innings, 2 in the 6th to end this one early. 11-1. No! Was the final score. Cotter Ramblers. We'll get you the box score here. Cannon Falls, they had 1 run on 2 hits and 3 errors. Cotter, 11 runs on 13. I wish it was no runs. 11 runs on 13 hits and 1 error. For Cannon Falls, Maya Mengi, 1 for 2. Josie Shoquist, 1 for 2 with an RBI. Maddie Burr, a run scored and a stolen base. Zumbrota-Mazeppa Bombers finished the season 12-10. Was it 12-10, I think? Cannon Falls losing 2 seniors, if I'm not mistaken. Big loss will be Maddie Burr at first base. Not only defensively, but also a big piece of their batting order. I believe Ava Hansen will also graduate, but this Cannon Falls team is young with boatloads of talent. Start on the mound with Allie Pagel. 2 more years left for her. The Shoquist sisters, I believe, are just in their junior and sophomore years. And talk about young talent. How about 8th graders Emma Templin and superstar Maya Mengi? They will be forces to be reckoned with the next 4 years, as they have not even stepped foot into high school. They will be fun to watch, especially if you're Cannon Falls fans. So we will lose another one from the With squad. This one, Cannon Falls. Next up, Zumbrota-Mazeppa. Because they moved on, they would take on the number 1 seed Randolph Rockets. Unfortunately for HVL fans, the Rockets scored 6 in the 2nd inning and coasted to a 10-0 win over the Cougars. Zumbrota-Mazeppa, let's get you the box score here. 0 runs on 4 hits, 2 errors. Randolph, 10 runs on 9 hits and 0 errors. Zumbrota-Mazeppa, 1 hit for Melanie Rash, Cameron Culvers, Trinity Chappa, and Emma Back. They will drop into the elimination bracket, and we'll have to take on a very talented Caledonia Warriors squad. That will be played in Caledonia on Saturday, May 25th at 11 a.m. As you can see here, they are still alive, though. Still alive. Winner of that game will play the winner of Chatfield versus Cotter on the 28th back in Austin. I'm recording this on Saturday morning, so that's an 11 o'clock game. I do not have those results just yet. We'll put them on episode 10. So Zumbrota-Mazeppa still alive for the With squad. Here they are. We got 4 teams left. In Section 1 AAA, 3A, I guess you call it. We got 3 teams here. We got number 2 seed Stewartville, number 4 Kasson-Mantorville, and number 5 Byron. So where should we start? Let's just pull up the slide so I see where I started. It looks like Kasson-Mantorville, Winona. They're going to have to play defending section champion Winona, who's been really playing hot late in the season. What didn't start out well this game was the Comets, game plan. I don't know what was going on. Windhawks scored 4 runs in the 1st inning, solo home runs in their second and third. That would take the lead to 6-0 Windhawks, as their pitcher Krekel was hanging zeros through 6 innings of play. Kasson made a push in the 7th, though. Cara Farnsworth hit a single to center field. Janae Sandstrom reached on an air, putting 2 on with 2 outs. Kylie Meyer Meyer, I believe, was next up. Yeah, Kylie Meyer singles on a line drive to right field, scoring Farnsworth, and Sandstrom moves over to third. Grace Mann then lines one to center. Was it center or left field? I can't remember. But the outfielder comes up throwing, gets the force out at second, as ending this one early with Richards, Simons, and Fitch due up for Kasson-Mantorville. What could have been, just heartbreaking. Winona takes this one 6-1. Let's get you the box score. Kasson-Mantorville, 1 run on 7 hits, 2 errors. Winona, 6 runs on 8 hits and 1 error for Kasson-Mantorville. Cara Farnsworth came on in relief, and I thought she did pretty well when you look at this. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, only 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 2 for 3 at the plate, and a run scored. Allie Gronke, 2 for 3. Kylie Meyer, 2 for 4 with an RBI. Abby Simons, 1 for 3. Still intact. Remember, 3A, it's double elimination, so we still have 4 teams to go. Next up, Byron. I've got a cooler here, okay? Got a cooler here. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll show you what's in it in just a bit, because I got to tell you about this game, this Byron and Austin game. Number 8 seed Austin, who gave Winona a scare, 3-0, I believe, was the first, the score of their game against the Windhawks. Now, Byron taking on a tough Austin team. Austin already has a win over the Bears. If you think about it, first game of the season, 7-6 was the final score. Austin would score 1 in the top of the first on a pass ball, but Byron would tie it up right away in the bottom half of the inning. It went walk by Barron, single by First Head, and a walk by Steele. That loaded the bases. A Macy Behringer ground ball would bring in a run, and it was all ones after 1. Packers score 2 in the second, and Bears again fight right back. 3 straight singles by Hattie Mathry, Leah Strain, and a huge hit by Tally Behrens to left field, bringing in 2 runs, and we are all knotted up at 3 after 2 innings. Packers would hang another 2 runs in the top of the third, and they would lead this game 5-3 through 4.5 innings. In the bottom of the 5th, Max Steele led off with a double, moved to third, tagging on a Clark fly ball. Behringer would lay down a bunt. Steele held up at third, so 2 on with only 1 out. Leah Bendix hits a deep enough fly ball for Steele to tag and score. Byron cuts the lead to just 1 for Austin. In the bottom of the 6th, single by Ella Brennan to start out. Hattie Mathry, a beautiful sacrifice bunt to move Brennan to second. Leah Strain would ground out, but now Brennan on third with 2 outs. Cadence Firstead would single to the right side. Brennan scores, and it's all tied up at 5. Max Steele has come on in relief and been hanging donuts like she works for Krispy Kreme since the 4th inning, as she looked fantastic on the mound. Nothing much going for either team in the 7th, so we go to extra innings here to find a winner. Austin pops up 3 straight fly balls in the inning, comes away with no runs. Hattie Mathry leads off the bottom of the inning, hits a ground ball to short, and Hattie was hauling down the line, beats the throw by a step, and the Bears have a runner on with no outs. Leah Strain lays down a beautiful sacrifice bunt, moves Mathry over to second, where now courtesy runner Sauter would come in to run. Tally Behrens walks for the 3rd time of the day, and into the box steps Cadence Firstead with girls on first and second with 1 out. Cadence, I was watching this game the last, 2 innings? Maybe 3 innings. Cadence fouled off, I think, 6 straight pitches as Austin was trying to, looks like, keep it on the outside corner of the plate. I told our coach, our summer softball coach, Brian Murray, who was standing next to me, Cadence keeps fouling these off, and sooner or later, they're going to hang one to her, and she's going to make them pay. And I no sooner got those words out of my mouth, and the pitcher hangs one. Firstead steps on it, and I yell, just like that. 1 hopper to the fence. Sauter was moving. Relay to home was not in time, and Firstead walks it off in dramatic fashion to keep the Bears season alive. I said I would show you what's in the cooler before the game. There was a blood drive going on at the local hospital. I've got Cadence's donation right here. It's right here. Let's show it. Make sure the camera's on. Cadence first. She's got ice water in her veins. Incredible. Talk about the walk-off against Zumbrota-Mazeppa. Now the walk-off against Austin. Look it's right there. Her name's on the bag. Cadence Firstead. I better not spill it on my computer, so I'm going to put that back in the cooler for some patient that might need that. Might need an infusion. I think it's A positive, and I'm not talking about her blood type. I'm talking about the grade she had for that at-bat. Incredible. Add this to all the long resume that Firstead has put together, which will be pages long when she is done with her softball career at Byron. Hall of Fame resume probably by that time. Let's go. HVL squad wins it in extra innings. Let's get you the box score. I was pumped up there. Austin, 5 runs on 4 hits, no errors. Byron, 6 runs on 13 hits, 3 errors. You can see all those zeros hung after the 4th inning. Give a big thank you to Max Steele for that. Let's get you the results here. Max Steele, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. Got the win coming on in relief. She was also 2 for 3 with 2 doubles, a run scored. Cadence Verstad, what a day for her. 3 for 5 with a double, 2 RBIs, a run scored. Macy Behringer, 2 for 4 with an RBI. Hattie Mathry beating that one down the line. Got to get the leadoff run around. She did it. 2 for 3 for the catcher. Tally Barons, 1 for 2 with 3 walks. They didn't want to pitch to her. I wouldn't either. 2 RBIs for the sophomore. 1 hit each for Strain, Bendix, and Brennan. The Wiz squad is intact. Byron wins and moves on. Next up, the last of the 3:30 games in Austin for our HVL teams. It was the number 2 seed Stewartville Tigers taking on the Faribault Falcons, a team that handed Stewartville our first loss of the season, and it wasn't close. 13-0 Falcons was the final. Need to make some adjustments if you're Stewartville. Need to make some adjustments after a game like that. Faribault pulled off the upset over Northfield in extra innings, just showing how tough this section is. Number 6 seed beats Northfield. Then you'll see, at least I'll talk about it at some point, number 7 seed Red Wing sends the Raiders home in just 2 games. Number 8 seed, you just saw them take a really good Byron team to the limit in extra innings. There is no easy game in Section 138. Any seed can win this bracket. We've talked about this before. Those numbers, just placeholders. To this game, it would be Riley Seatsema for the Falcons, already threw the shutout versus Stewartville earlier in the year, and for the Tigers, Sydney Clark, who just threw a no-hitter the last game against Red Wing. Faribault jumped out to a 2-run lead with a 2 RBI single by Williams with the bases loaded. In the bottom of the first, back-to-back airs put Mitchell and Clark on. Johanna Cahoon comes into a courtesy run for Clark. Kayla Byrne would draw a walk loading the bases. Savannah Hadeen hits a grounder to second, out at first, but gets the job done, scoring Mitchell. Addie Eckerman hits a laser back at the pitcher. I think she actually hit Seatsema's arm, ricochets to short. Either way, scored another one. We tied it up. It stayed 2-2 through 3 innings. In the bottom of the 4th, Brielle Johnson singles on a ground ball to left, heads to second base 1 pitch later on a pass ball. Haley Lourdes at the plate, hits a hard grounder back up the middle. Johnson being waved around from third. She would score. Lourdes takes second on the throw. Catcher tried to pick Lourdes off at second. Throw sails into the outfield. Lourdes all the way to third. Brooklyn Peterson then would draw a walk, putting girls at the corners with 1 out. Kaylee Lehrman puts down a perfect bunt. Lourdes runs in on the throw. Lehrman sacrifices herself for another Tiger run, making it 4-2 Stewartville after 4. The Falcons would score 1 in the 5th and 1 in the 6th to tie it up. A leadoff double in the second. In the second by Faribault had our butts puckering though, or in the 7th. Did I say second? Yeah, the leadoff double in the 7th, top of the 7th inning with the score tied, had our butts puckering on the Stewartville side, but 2 strikeouts and a pop fly to Shayla Shavasta at second base ended the threat. In the bottom of the 7th, with 1 out, Veronica Mitchell coming up clutch all season, comes up big time again, laces one to center field. She would move to second on a wild pitch, then Clark follows up with a single to the left side, 2 on the corners, 2 runners at first and third with only 1 out. Clark would take second on defensive indifference. That is not a stolen base for all you scoring out there. Byrne was up 3-0 or 3-0 in the count, and then the team decided to intentionally walk her to load the bases. They brought the infield in with just 1 out, bases loaded, tie game in the bottom of the 7th. In steps Savannah Hadeen. Now, I've talked about this before. Savannah Hadeen, when she steps into the box with runners in scoring position, it's like she's walking into a street fight. She looks locked in and ready to make some heads roll. Second pitch of the at-bat, she absolutely demolishes the ball. Right center, walks it off in dramatic fashion. If it wouldn't have been a walk-off, it probably would have been a bases clearing double or triple, but all we needed was 1, and the 2 through 5 hitters delivered in the bottom of the 7th. Incredible game. Before we get to that box score, let's just talk about something that the Faribault fans weren't too happy about this game. But it turned out to be a brilliant coaching move by Coach Crystal Peterson. Last game when we played Faribault, their catcher, Olivia Smith, fantastic player. Fantastic player. Nobody's arguing that. Well, she went 4 for 4 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs against the Tigers in a game that we lost by 13. And if you're from the Faribault and you don't think a team that you just beat by 13 isn't going to make some adjustments, you're absolutely crazy. So the night before, Olivia Smith, going against a really good Northfield team, goes 3 for 4 with like, what, 2 or 3 RBIs or something like that. So when they play Stewartville, she comes up to the plate. She gets the Macy Borowski treatment from Byron last year, right? 3 intentional walks, her first 3 at-bats. She did not score in the game, went 0 for 1 when we were forced to pitch to her. We had parents from the other team very upset because we were walking her, yelling things like, she's a senior, let her hit. Do you guys know the point of the game? It is actually to not let her hit if she's on the other team. Not let her bring runs around. And we are playing to win. Not playing to allow your best player to have some participation medal or something. Like, they took it as a dig. Really, this is a huge sign of respect for the skill set and how dangerous of a player she is. I appreciate that Olivia Smith wanted to hit. That's usually the first step of a hitter being great, is going in there with that mentality that I want to hit. But when you have the games against Stewartville that you have had, and then another outstanding performance against a solid Northfield team, like 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a stolen base in a 3-2 game in extra innings, it cannot be that shocking to everybody on Faribault's side. If it is, I don't know how much softball they've really watched in their lifetime. Coach Peterson's job is to put her team in the best possible position to win. I don't think she lost 1 minute of sleep that the opposing team's parents didn't like her decision. But I can ask her if you guys want, since I go to bed like way before she does most nights with all the work she has to do as a teacher and head coach, and I am like lights out. But I don't think she lost any sleep. Either way, let's get to this box score. I had to get that off my chest. Faribault fans probably don't watch this anyway. For all the What in the HVL fans, that's my 2 cents on that. Faribault, 4 runs on 8 hits, 2 errors. Stewartville, 5 runs on 7 hits, 1 error. That huge run in the bottom of the 7th. 7 players for Stewartville had 1 hit each. So 1 hit by 7 players for the 7 team hits. 7 players: Mitchell, Klar, Hedin, Eckerman, Johnson, Lourdes, and Peterson. The RBIs went to Lehrman, Hedin, and Eckerman. Stewartville moves on to take on Winona Tuesday night to see who will earn their way into the section championship and who will have to win 1 more game to get back to it. Nerve-wracking times in Tiger Nation, but if you would have told me before the season that we would be 17-3 and in the final 3 teams for Section 1, I might have thought you were crazy, but so very happy to be in this position, and hopefully our girls can pull something out of their hat this next week. Just so much fun to watch this season. So, with squad stays intact. Next up, you heard that Byron 1 kept their season alive. They would be taking on the same team that Stewartville Tigers just eked out a win on, the Faribault Falcons. Both teams coming off dramatic late-inning heroics. Firsted's double in favor of Byron, and on the other side of Faribault, it was our walk-off single by Hedin. You never know how teams are going to, fight back immediately following a game like that, where it's a roller coaster, emotions running high, players get drained. I know parents get drained. It is tough regardless of which team you are on, whether the win or the losing team. The Falcons came out on fire, though. 3 runs in the first inning, 2 runs in the second to take a 5-run lead. Byron got going in the bottom of the 4th. Max Steele led off the inning with a walk. Emma Clark bunts and went to second on an error. Steele all the way to 3rd. Faribault would cut down Steele at home on a ground ball by Behringer, but Aaliyah Bendix would score Clark for the Bears' first run. Ella Brennan grounds out to 1st, but got Macy Behringer to score, and now it was 5-2 Faribault. Unfortunately, the Falcons would score 3 runs in the 5th and 2 in the 6th to take this game. 10-2 was the final score. No, the Bears have so many players I like, and their season ends. I don't like to see that. Faribault 10 runs on 12 hits, 1 error. Byron 2 runs on 5 hits and 1 error. Let's get some stats up here for you. Tally Barons, what a game for the sophomore lefty. 3 for 4 for her. Leah Bendix 1 for 2 with an RBI. Brinley Cruz 1 for 1. I believe that counted for the 5 hits for the Bears. Bears finished their season 12-8, I'm guessing. Gosh, I wish I would have wrote this. Pretty sure it's 12-8, but when you talk about a loaded roster that returns all of its starters, the Bears will give a lot of HVL coaches nightmares in the offseason. Tally Barons, Leah Bendix, and then your 3 freshmen, Steele, Firstead, and Mathry. I mean, come on, the Bears will probably be competing for HVL championships at least the next 3 years, if not longer, because they have a talented pool of girls coming up through the ranks. So sad to see Byron drop out, some of our favorite people over there in Bear Country. Moving on, next team to cover, Kasson-Mantorville. We talked about Red Wing pulling off the upset against Northfield. Bree-Tix, I tried to tell you, it's scary to face teams with dominant pitchers, and Bree-Tix from Red Wing is that girl. She was able to carry the Wingers to a big win over Northfield to keep the Red Wing season alive, now taking on the Comets, and what I would say is the most dangerous offensive lineup in the conference, top to bottom. Just if you ask me, you didn't, but I'm giving you my opinion anyway. Red Wing, though, put some offense up early. 1 run in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd, and 3 in the 4th to take a 5-0 lead. But holy cats, did the Comets come on strong in the bottom of the 4th. Abby Simons got things going off with a solo shot to start the inning. Home run for her. Then Andrea Fish singles to center field. 2 straight outs, and it looked like Red Wing was going to get out of this inning with limited damage with just the 1 run. But that's not what happened. No. Alex Hyatt reached base on an infield air. Fitch scores. Allie Gronke singles on a line drive to right field. That's scored Hyatt. Kylie Meyer reaches base on an infield air, 2 on with 2 out. A Grace Mann infield fly ball scored as a double for some reason. Should be marked as another Red Wing air. Scores Gronke. Callie Richards steps in and hits an absolute nuke to center. A 3-run home run for the senior. Abby Simons then coming up again. We're batting around. She singles. And then Andrea Fitch feeling a little bit left out. Simons hit a bomb, you know, Callie Richards hit a bomb. Now Andrea Fitch comes up and what do you know? A 2-run shot to left field. And Kasson-Mantorville puts up 9 runs in the bottom of the 4th to take a 4-run lead, 9-5. Wow! Have you heard of an inning like that? Incredible. But hold on. Red Wing takes advantage of 3 hits and 3 errors to score 6 and go up 11-9. Red Wing would add another in the 7th to make it 12-9, and the Comets were down to their final 3 outs. A Kylie Meyer single and a Callie Richards double put the Comets within 2, but Bree Tix is able to get the final out of the inning, and Red Wing pulls off the upset in a game that you wouldn't think would score this many runs. 22 runs scored. Unfortunately for the W.I.T.H HVL team, for our WIT squad, Kasson-Mantorville is on the wrong side of that. 12-10 was the final score. Wingers. Red Wing, 12 runs on 8 hits, 5 errors. Kasson-Mantorville, 10 runs on 14 hits, 7 errors for the Comets. You don't like to see that. Kasson-Mantorville, Callie Richards, 3 for 5 with a home run, a double, 4 RBIs. Andrea Fitch, 3 for 4 with a home run, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Abby Simons, 3 for 5, home run, 2 runs scored, RBI. Kylie Meyer, 3 for 5 with a double and 2 runs scored. Kasson-Mantorville finishes this season 14-8 and HVL Conference co-champions. We have talked about several teams in the HVL and the talent they are bringing back. And yes, the Comets will have some great players that they're bringing back. But when you talk about the impact these seniors had on Kasson-Mantorville's softball success, going to be huge losses. You got Du Bois, and then your 3, 4, and 5 hitters, Richards, Simons, and Fitch. Tough to replace that kind of offensive production. I mean, just look at this last game. Combined 9 for 14, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs in their final game in the blue and white. But you do have something to look forward to. You got Emily Olsen on the mound. You got Grace Mann at second base. Allie Gronke at shortstop. Kylie Meyer, Cara Farnsworth, Alex Hyatt coming up late in the season, just to name a few. But a lot of appreciation for these seniors, I bet, from Coach Mann and Coach Tomey there in Kasson-Mantorville. So unfortunately for our WIT squad, the Kasson-Mantorville Comets will drop off. That leaves just 2 teams, and that is going into next week. Like I said, Zumbrota-Mazeppa, I believe, plays Caledonia. That's today in probably an hour or 2 against Caledonia in Caledonia. Winner, go home. That's what it is for them. Tigers face Winona on Tuesday. If they win, they play Thursday. If they lose, they play the winner of Red Wing and Faribault. So we'll see what happens and cover that on episode 10. You know what comes up next here. Top performers of what in the HVL? We got to go through them. We got several of them here. There's plenty we could talk about. First, Cameron Culvers of Zumbrota-Mazeppa. No-hitter against GMLOK. 6 innings pitched, no-hitter, 8 strikeouts. Then she had 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts in the win against Cotter. So 2 wins for Culvers on the mound. Then Mai Mengi from Cannon Falls. How about the game against Pine Island? 2 for 4 with 2 home runs, 4 RBIs for the 8th grade catcher. She has been playing fantastic. One of the bright spots for, the HVL conference in terms of the future is now for the 8th grader. Next up, Allie Pago from Cannon Falls, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, but it's what she did on both sides of the plate, throwing and hitting. She was also 3 for 4 against the Panthers. Caden's first out of Byron, 2 for 4 with a home run, 2 RBIs, and a run scored against Kasson-Mantorville. And then the 3 for 5 game against Austin, she had the double, the walk-off, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. Just incredible. Like I said, if you need to see it, if anybody needs some, here it is, baby. The Caden's first dad blood donation. Ice water in her veins. Nobody you want stepping up. When I talked about her in the preseason episode and the home run she hit in the last inning with 1 minute to go in our time limit, I can't remember what team it was now. I had it written down before. This girl's dangerous. You don't want to pitch to her late in the game because she don't care. She'll rip a double. Another girl, Tally Behrens from Byron, this week 5 for 10 with 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored, 3 walks, getting on base quite a bit. Double. She ends the year, I believe, on a 5-game hit streak. Incredible there by Behrens. She still has 2 more years in the yellow and black. Mackenzie Steele, best name in the HVL, Max Steele. I can't believe I didn't include it. She got Prep Athlete of the Week. Maybe we can include it next week. Prep Athlete of the Week. So big congrats to her. They did a story on her. ABC 6, I believe, was the channel. But anyway, how about this? 1 for foo. Foo, Pat Pity the Foo, who has to go against Max Steele. How about that? 1 for 2 with a double against Kasson-Mantorville. 2 for 3 with 2 doubles, a run scored versus Austin, and then came on in relief to get the win. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, hanging a bunch of donuts like our favorite Krispy Kreme worker. That's what I said. And 7 strikeouts for the freshman Mackenzie Steele. You got to give this trio of seniors from Kasson-Mantorville our top performers. Did you see what they did in their final game? Just putting the Comets on their back, trying to bring them into the next round and keep their season alive. You got to have a ton of respect. On the left side, there's Abby Simons, Callie Richards in the middle, and on the right, you got Andrea Fitch. Combined 9 for 14 with 3 home runs, a double, 7 RBIs, and 5 runs scored. What else could they have done? The answer is nothing. I mean, incredible performance for your last game. Other than the loss, how else would you want to go out than what they did there? And our last top performer, Sydney Clark. You throw a no-hitter, you land on the top performer list. 7 innings pitched, no hits, 14 strikeouts against Red Wing. That's her 4th no-hitter of the season. 2 for 4 at the plate with an RBI. Also had a great game against Faribault, getting the win. That's the most important thing. Don't always look at the stats. We want the W's. That's what we are playing for as a team. And Sydney Clark did it for us. Four no-hitters in a season, though. That's got to be some kind of record. I don't know. I'm not keeping records here yet. What's next for What in the HVL? Well, episode 10, I got to run down Zumbrota-Mazeppa, Caledonia, and whether or not Zumbrota moves on, I will do all the subsequent games, and then Stewartville section results. So I don't know if most of you will be tuning in or not, because we might not be talking about your teams, but I promise you in episode 11, you want to be tuning in. It is the season finale of What in the HVL as we hand out our all What in the HVL team. I think the way I'm going to do it is pick 3 players from each team to highlight or to name to my all with team. There's 1 vote, and it's this guy right here. I'm going to be picking them, so I will be compiling that over the next couple weeks. Coaches, if you're out there listening, feel free to send some season end stats my way. Then maybe I can kind of dice through them. Otherwise, I'm going to go based on the eye test. We talked about that in episode, what was it, 6 with Mike on the mic. The eye test proves a lot, and I've seen some fantastic players this season. I can't wait to talk about them. That will be episode 11. I think, yeah, that's all I have for you this week. Very sad to see so many of the girls and teams that I've followed so closely all year long to have their seasons and some of their careers come to an end. I appreciate all the help over the last 9 episodes from those who have sent me stuff, whether it's scores or stats or pictures. They have helped this HVL softball show. Couldn't have done it without you. I'm going to let you go, though, because this is Memorial Day weekend. I want you to enjoy it with your families. Thanks for tuning in to What in the HVL? This is episode 9, and this one is in the books. I hope to catch you all out at the field sometimes. Take care, everybody.